is iRacing.
It's so close to seeing a title, a new champion crowned here in your classic Lotus Grand Prix 79s out here. But with 3 rounds to go, it's not a formality just yet, because survival is of the fittest at an old school circuit that has not changed its layout ever in terms of racing action. We head over to Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada, and to Mosport for this 10th round of 12 this season, and it is going to be a case of, can Aldris Valenteas mop up the points, or does Zach Leon Hardy have a recovery still left to find? My name's Jake Sperry. Alongside with me for today's running is Craig King, as Christian Deploy sits in the director's chair using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But what can be said around a circuit that often gets forgotten in the motorsports heritage as a former Formula One circuit? Well, if you haven't seen this place ever before and you think, well, what's all the big deal? Here's a little GSRC track guide to get you up to speed.
Welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, or as most fans know it, Mosport. This circuit to the northeast of Toronto is a rarity in the world of racing today. Safety standards and the desire for more overtaking opportunities has caused most tracks to alter their layouts over the years. But Mosport is still exactly the same footprint as it was when it was built in 1961. A mere 11 turns, most of which are high-speed sweepers, are dispersed among 2.5 miles, or just shy of 4 kilometers. The only alterations to the turns have been to the runoff areas, but otherwise the radii, camber, and elevation changes are all untouched. Because cars have continued to get faster through the passage of time, it's made this place a fearsome beast to tackle. Clayton Corner is particularly notorious. The blind crest and steep plunge combined with incredibly high speeds to create a punishing combination. Without many heavy braking zones, passing is often difficult. And other than using the slipstream up the Mario Andretti straight, the only other option is usually Moss Corner. This double apex hairpin is named after Sir Sterling Moss for his suggestion to redesign it after he saw its initial layout. While the plateau-like middle portion and critical exit onto the backstretch certainly give it plenty of character, the heavy compression at the bottom of the hill that causes a frighteningly short braking zone makes this one not for the faint of heart. Formula One, USAC, and IMSA have all taken their turns here, but recently NASCAR has joined the fray by holding a round for the Truck Series. Old school fans can rejoice for the enduring popularity of this bastion of untouched tarmac, but any motorsports enthusiast can't help but smile at the thrill Mosport continues to provide.
Craig, there's an incredible flow around this circuit, and I think this will be a few drivers' guilty pleasure.
Oh, I love this track, and when you bring in the fact that you've got a downforce-ridden car like the Lotus 79s, I think this is absolutely beautiful. A lot of elevation changes, especially when you go down that dangerous Clayton Corner, because if you go a bit too wide and catch the grass, you're not saving the car. And then it just flows a little bit. The tight Moss Corner, that double hairpin, as I like to call it. It's not a hairpin, but to me it's a hairpin. That gets you back up the hill, up to the Andretti straight away. That's where your main overtaking is going to be today, but you're thinking about what you have to do. You got to keep the speed up in these cars. It's going to be some taps at the brakes. Try and keep into the same gear as much as you can, because you don't really want to be slowing the car down too much, because it's also a short track around here. So you just think about what they used to do around here. Nowadays, it's very quick. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the drivers do in the dirty air.
I am as well, and I think that's going to be a really critical part of how this racing is now going to set itself apart. So, how will this play in the long and the short as we talk championship here? Because Andres Valenteus, 163 points clear. Now, let me be very, very important about this. Zach Leon Hardy has drop rounds in the back pocket, so he can claw it back. But if Valenteus just picks up the bonus points, does everything that he needs to as a driver, he might just get it over the line without having to worry about result. James Barry finds himself in third ahead of Jack David Spickett, with Ross Banfield and Gabri Martinez in fifth and sixth. Mickey Friesen is then in seventh, with Kartik Pai eighth. It means that Cal Young and Andrew Petty round out your top 10.
F2 championship for those under 3K. We're only going to be seeing Ben Summers today, and we'll see Barry West as well. That's not a real good thing there to say about Barry. But Diego Mastretta had a P9 last week in the championship, extends that lead to 101 points to Craig Sandin. Key thing here, they have had one drop. Craig's one drop is 13 points. Spa's his next worst. He does have gaps where he gets some good results and catch up to Diego. I don't think Mastretta's going to really improve on his points total right now, so it's all on what Craig can do in the next 3 rounds. As we saw Barry West, Ben Summers still battling out there for the rest of the podiums. Miguel Morland just behind him as well. Jesse Brannon and Josh Cordell there in 6th and 7th. Keith Herner will be 8th. Rennie Villeneuve around the track today, where Villeneuve won in at 78. Could be a little bit of a sign there for him in the second split. Brett Whalen rounds out your top 10. And Jake, we do have that all-important team championship to talk about.
Yeah, some drivers indicate that they want to play as a team, and Ben Summers and Michael Taylor on top of that for Jib Racing, with a Keep Renault Elf in second. It's then Vorsteiner Arrows Racing Team and Fittipaldi Automotive Persicar in fourth position. Scuderia Ferrari are then in fifth ahead of TVR Racing and Northern Winter Racing, 6th and 7th, with Candy Team Tyrrell in 8th. Ligier Gitanes is in 9th, but expect them to start leapfrogging up the order with Jerno Fritzsche here today, and Totoro Racing through Josephine Becker rounds out the top 10. But Craig, we know that this is going to be a race where lap times will go quickly, 32 of them to be precise.
32 of them today at round 10. We're in moving day when you think about it, and it's a 65-second lap time for the top drivers here today. Open setup, so use the iRacing baseline, a setup you made, or use one made by the community. But if you crash, your day is done as there's no spare car. There is a drive-through at 17 incident points, disqualification at 25. I don't think we'll be seeing 25, 17. You flirt a little bit with the grass and keep it on the tarmac. You might flirt with it, but if you get on the grass around here, you're usually going into the barriers.
Yep, so you've got to be very much set on what you need, as the laps are going to be thick and fast. And currently, Inert E-Racing 1-2 at the top of the order. James Barry's brought his teammate along today to go and find some pace, and that is Dennis Kyriakopoulos, the Swiss driver, there in second. So he's taking to this like a duck to water, and Moreira currently is third. But the big times we've yet to really see out there. No Zach Leon Hardy time yet. No Jack David Spickett. They've been waiting to the 11th hour to put something in. Valenteus, his first attempt, is only a 5.5, which is good enough for 7th only.
Yeah, it's only 3 tenths behind what Barry's done, but wow, I just feel that that's quite a big gap on such a short track like this, because you look at it, the top 18 are separated by less than a second. So Valenteus now comes through the S's. Try not to take too much of that first right-hander and compromise yourself for the last part. Into whites he'll go. Needs a good time here. It needs to be a low 05. And he crosses that line. It is just enough. Just enough. Just enough. I say that again, Jay. It's just enough.
9 thousandths of a second says more than enough, and Josh Brain will be one of these drivers who are thinking he wants more than just enough out there, as he will push over towards the line. And his best lap time was a 6.5. It's now a 5.9, which will help to jump him up the order then a little bit better. To 15th he goes. Jack David Spickett currently is out there on his first lap, and I think Zach Leon Hardy has abandoned his first attempt because he's weaving the tyres on the back stretch. So can Jack David Spickett, using the T-Sets livery, come and get a good result. First lap time over the board, a 5.4 to go and put it up into P5. Now this second lap is going to be critical out there when we talk about a 22-degree track temperature here. It's cold.
It's cold. Wind's not really being much of a factor either. Look at it there. It's about 10 kilometers an hour north. You've got to be asking me, where is north, Craig? Well, the Andretti straightaway is basically going north, west. I had to just remember west and east was there. Jack David Spickett doesn't need to worry about that. Just got 2 cars left on the field. Zach knew that he had to just throw that lap time away. He's 21st. In fact, there he is on the timing tower. But Jack needs to find all he can. He comes through. Just a few more corners to go. Again, compromise the right to set yourself up for the left in the S's.
Yeah, and so as that set, this is turn 8. It leads you into turn 9, and then you got White's corner, turn 10, that ends the lap out. How critical is this run? Stamp on the throttle as early as you dare. Jack David Spickett, 5 flat. Goes to the pole by 2/10. Does Zach Leon Hardy have a response to say he can get up there? Does a 5.7 then as he crosses, but critically, that is nowhere near what he wants from a time. He's 12th on the grid, and that is a huge shock today where the field has come to play games and has pace to work with at Mosport. Jack David Spickett in the number 8 has the control on a 105.0. He crashed out of the Super Formulas last night. Aldris Valenteus is alongside with James Barry and Dennis Kiriakopoulos, the teammates, 3rd and 4th. Then it's Em Moreira and Marco Nurmela, 5th and 6th, with Ross Banfield and Kartik Pai on row 4. Alex McCollum will start this one 9th as Mickey Friesen rounds out your top 10.
Number 11 is 11th for Seamus Power, and then Zach Leon Hardy. Is that the championship? Probably gone now in 12th. Hans Sommer, 13 for 13, and Cal Young will be 14th. Going up, Friescher will be in 15th, and Jean-Francois Bosca, 16th. Then it's Josh Brain in 17th, Remy Villeneuve in 18th, Mike Rasmus in 19th, Barry was 20th. I'll just quickly roll over to the next 4 drivers as Luke Turnerson will be in 21st, Ben Summers 22nd, Martin Riesman 23rd, and Jason Clapper, well, it's the Clapper special with no time.
Yeah, we'll have to go from the back of the field to make this happen. 2 minutes to grid themselves up, or they can elect for pit lane as the place that sets them up the best in this run. So keep that in mind as they want today to be one where they have absolute pure control over what this race will set themselves up for. It is a overcast condition as they will get themselves ready for the run towards that Michelin bridge and turn number 1 out there on circuit. So they know how important the start of this lap is, but the trip over point is normally the toughest corner on this track, which is Clayton's corner, turn number 2. Quebec is turn 3, and that is an immediate clap back as you head over towards the Moss hairpin and over onto the Andretti into 8 and 9, and then finally turn 10, which sets up as White's corner. But this is a circuit where close battling is needed. Imagine it as a Canadian Thruxton out there. Let's get set, let's get ready, let's get going, because we are underway. Very bad start from Dennis Kiriakopoulos, gets absolutely monstered, and Leon Hardy in trouble. He's around off the start of this race. Unbelievable get-go. Then as they set themselves up, damage is going to be massive, and Zach Leon Hardy is now at the dead rear of the field with damage.
Yeah, trying to get around Seamus Power, and he just lost it there. He got spun around and then hit the wall of a Ferrari, and I think the Ferrari he hit was one of those slow drivers. It was Hans Sommer as well. We talked about that at the start, where I talked about it as we went through the grid. That could have been the championship, because if you're in that tight of a field, in fact, it's over. Leon Hardy's told. The championship is done, and to quote Murray Walker, it's happened immediately. We get back to the racing, though, as Moreira is trying to battle for some positions.
Incredible, isn't it? Pressure does things in qualifying, and then you've got no way of understanding how you're going to get back around the order. Jack David Spickett, your leader here, as there is Em Moreira now fighting hard with Mickey Friesen for position. Friesen in 9th, is only going to have the ability to sit back and watch then as they work through and into this second lap out there of the race. Valenteia's here, who is in second now, can focus on just finding his 4th straight victory out there as he works down the hill through turn 2 and look around and say, right, let's get a lay of the land. James Barry, Marco Nurmler, Ross Banfield and Dennis Kiriakopoulos then directly behind. They will settle down into this rhythm, find what they can get out of it, but they know the laps will tick by fast. This will feel very bullringish as they now go up through the very unique Moss hairpin.
Come to the Moss hairpin. I think we've got a replay ready here of that start. Here's Liam Hardy, and you'll see he tried to get a run there, but it tightens up. Everyone's trying to find that gap because they can see he gets the best of runs, and that spin around there, and that was Hans Sommer who was trying to avoid everything. Liam Hardy, not a lot he could have done there, was just rolling a little bit. You say get on the brakes. Not a lot would have changed if he got on the brakes or not there, and that is unfortunate. He does have, that would be a drop round for him, but I don't think he'll be able to get any time back now. So all eyes, realistically, on what's going to happen for the rest of the field, because Jack Davis Pickett's purple. He's battling James Barry now for that last podium spot, and Jack doesn't have a full quota of races. This could be him making a claim, not only just for the P3, but P2 in the championship.
Definitely possible out there, and so if he wants that, he's going to have to be faultless between now and the end of this season, and he marks that quite well. Cal Young, who got a piece of the contact off of the start of the race, as he had himself with a dalliance with Hans Sommer. He now has Seamus Power, who also had a dalliance trying to go and get through. You've got Josh Brain behind that, then Remy Villeneuve, Mike Rasmus, who is there, and Cookie Monster is on the back of it here. Luke Turnison, he wants to put himself into this position. He wants to give himself a chance to say, I can move on forward, I can go and gain some places. And there's Jason Clapper, Mr. I will gain some places out there, battling hard with the veteran, JFB, Jean-Francois Boscus.
That move puts him +6, which, when you look at the carnage at the start of the race, Jason usually picks up laps there as he tries to battle on. He wants to catch up to these guys. Turnison up 4, Rasmus up 3, so is Villeneuve and Brain, but Turnison just missing out a bit as he tried to really catch out there. They're going to come down into Clayton. I think we've got another replay of that start getting Bruno. This is what Hans Sommer did. Now, it's weird to see the guy end up on the grass, Jake, on the left hand of the track. Look how far he's trying to travel over. Straight away, he sees danger, gets caught out there from another driver who did not see the danger, and that is the problem when you get a stalled car, no offense to them, and you get a stalled car in the mid-pack of a field like this.
And it was so prevalent as well in the old days of motorsport. I think people are often forgetful of that because everyone knows how to get a good start with a double clutch or whatever system they want to use in the sim that gets them often going off of the start. It's very simply put, those style of starts happened all the time in that era.
Yeah, what was it? Nigel Mansell had to go through 3 restarts to win a race, and then, well, decided he'd win the race and smash his head on a beam afterward by accident. It was the thing, and everything just goes on. Here's the overtake, Mike Rasmus. We went to replay, came down into Clayton. Well, just before Clayton, it was turn 1, and set himself up to make that move. But yeah, it was just so prevalent back in the day that we forget about it nowadays. And the closest we've had to a carnage start in F1, not the feeder series, we're probably in that restarts back in the COVID era. So that just goes to show how much you're not used to it nowadays in modern times.
Yeah, that would have been Mugello 2020, the most difficult one out there. Off the road right now is Martin Reisman, and Barry West is going to pick up a place then for his troubles, as there is Journo Freacher, as we just cut away to Reisman there in the BTR TV machine out there. If you got something that says TV on the back of it that isn't GSRC, you immediately lose 2/10 of pace.
Well, he has got Yanni Lehman's number on that as well. He's just trying to cut him some slack. At least he's got something on there as Mike Rasmus trying to now battle on with Josh Brain. And this is the treacherous part here because it's so flowing and the track almost flattens out a little bit before that dip into white. That dirty air is really prevalent there. We were talking about it at the start of the race. Dirty air is going to be a factor here, but when you've got that sweeping S's into whites, that's really going to affect you. And you can't go around the outside of Clayton here, but you can definitely set yourself up with a really nice slingshot here And you can see really working that on
Oh,
brain.
that's so
Josh
deep.
going to make it. Josh has just fallen for it onto the grass. That is good gamesmanship.
There goes one, there goes two, three for your mistakes. And one is the way that it goes through. There as Josh Brain loses out now to Turnison and Remy Villeneuve on home soil as he pulls through. And the last time this car ran around here, Craig, I believe Villeneuve did in fact win.
Well, it was 1978 a Villeneuve won, then it was a couple Fords that won in 79. So this would have been back in the day. It was Gilles Villeneuve running here in 1978, back when they still used it. Actually, that was when it was Montreal. And the next year, 79, well, not a lot happened. It was actually a couple Fords. So every time we look back at where this car was really dominant in 79, I always come and just find myself, nope. It was a Australian, Alan Jones in a Williams Ford. Gilles Villeneuve came second when they were here in 79 as Barry West looking to make some moves up here today. And that man in the background, Nigel Mansell, yeah, he wasn't around, but it was a Williams who won around here.
Are you sure that's Nigel Mansell? I swear that's Barry West.
Do you know, I had to do a double take there. It might be my uncle with the moustache on that. I'm not sure who that is, but it could be Barry. I know he says it isn't, but we love just seeing it as well. He's having his own little paddles around there at the back. Jean-Francois Bosquet ahead of him, but he's got Martin Riesman and Ben Summers to boot. And again, as he always says, it's not about where you finish. As long as you have some fun out there, that's all that matters.
So, they now look at this and say, all right, where can I find the next places out there? Top two remaining as they are for this time being, but they have pulled a second and a half away from James Barry. So Jack David Spickett and Aldris Valenteas makes the job a lot easier here at the 1/4 distance of the race, Craig, when you're only having to worry about one driver rather than the field.
And because also, let's factor in the fact that the field's still a little bit bunched up here. You're not even looking at lap traffic for a while. This is not going to be a Thruxton moment out there. Even though it's a track that's just as fast as Thruxton, the gap at the moment between the first car and the last car is 23 seconds, and the car that's in the pit had officially retired. So you're not even going to be seeing late back markers. So don't even need to worry about the traffic for this moment. They just need to hope that they're going to be okay, as I do see Turnison, unfortunately, is falling down in the order. He's taken a tow, has Turnison. Well, he found himself just finding that grass that Josh Brain found, but he couldn't control it, and he also found the tyre barrier.
Yeah, that's going to be a real shame. And so that is going to put life doubly difficult out there as far as this race goes. And Rasmus continues on in his battle out there and will understand that Seamus Power is holding his ground and doing very, very well to say, look, if you're going to want this pass, if you're going to need this pass, you're going to have to find it and take it away. So it is going to be just as they are for the moment. No real chance to see the move then put itself into play, but working on through and now understanding how that goes. It's a real shame to see Luke Turnison out of the race, but Mike Rasmus here, I think, realising there's a great opportunity, and if he can find that opportunity, he's just going to have to work it. I think we're about to get a replay.
Yeah, let's get a replay as Rasmus almost found himself on the grass at the same place here. Just starts to wash out a little bit there, and the car hit a bump as well, and I think the bump was what did the damage more than anything. He was going to try and save that car as much as he could, but the moment he hit that bump, he was just a passenger. Found that tyre barrier, well, it wasn't the tyre barrier, he found the old school wall there, and that's concrete. That's not going to be very forgiving. The wheel just went goodbye. He had 3 wheels on his wagon, not what he wants at the moment. He would love to have 4, like we've got the top 4 still battling here.
Yeah, gave the tyre a headbutt like Ian One did to a seagull one time at Phillip Island, but ultimately I think he is going to be setting himself down. Oh my goodness, Marco Nurmela is pushing that, and he gets well over the outside curb of turn 1. Don't tell me they're not pushing when they're in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th position here. Ross Banfield closes right up through Quebec.
Yeah, he's really pushing. He's got a teammate as well, Kira Popoulos, right behind as well. Sorry, I butchered his name there for a moment, but Dennis right behind, not having the best of start. Banfield taking advantage, Nurmela taking advantage as well. Only a few drivers really down there at the moment. Moreira's the lowest driver, and Hans Sommer, of course, at the start. As you get rid of that start, Dennis down 2, Moreira's down 3. Banfield trying to go, and he'll be trying to help his teammate get through here. If they can get past Nurmela, if one gets by, it's just going to set up for the next driver.
It will. Ross Banfield then pushing through the long sweeping right of 8 into 9, and Alex McCollum now fighting with Mickey Friesen, was looking for 9th place. They've got Jerno Frietscher directly behind. Rasmus still trying to find a way by Seamus Power, who just about covers the line then into turn 9. Not going to find any way to go and get the move done there. So there's going to be more to come on the horizon. Still, there's going to be chances where those overtaking opportunities present themselves. On board then from the roll hoop with Remy Villeneuve, who is Remy Villeneuve trying to get himself any way to go and make these passes, get these moves, and ultimately he's not quite finding himself close enough to make it. Someone who is looking close right now, Cal Young. He's got a wonderful run right now, just in front on Jerno Frietscher, forced him a bit wide, going through Quebec corner, isn't going to get the line up to Moss.
Won't get the line, and I think if he had the right GSRC logos, he might be able to get the line. It's love you really, Cal, but we like to have that little joke there. Trying to get push on now. He knows the track a lot. We've got Remy Villeneuve as well right there with Mike Rasmussen. I think Rasmus is going to get this on Remy as they'll go side by side through the Andretti straight away. And that's what you want to see. And that's what a lot of these overtakes have been today, is just set yourself up on the Andretti straight away. Hopefully you're not fighting when you come into the start of the S's. And that's really where you see the pedigree of this car. With all that dirty air, that wash, it's so hard to really try and find a way to go side by side. We have seen drivers try to make it, and your best chance, set yourself up to slingshot through Clayton into Quebec. Can't make it done. You have to hope for it, but he's done well here. Villeneuve just can't follow in the dirty air, losing a lot of time through the first few corners.
That's a big wiggle from Mike Rasmus there through Clayton's corner. You need all of the downforce available, but here's the issue with a circuit like this. You don't want downforce for the back stretch, so you pay the price around Mosport between, do I have enough to get myself through the corners, and do I have enough to run away on the straight?
Oh, you've got to pay the price with the Piper. Do you take the low downforce, or do you add a little bit of wing? You don't even want to go like a mid-level either, because that's going to be too much of a compromise when you're on these straights. And you'll probably see that with some of these drivers down in the back of the field. Is they're probably had to work out during the week what's the best way to go. I probably think Andy T will be telling people, yeah, no, just take all the wing out and just go. And Andy T is a maniac in the good ways. But some of these drivers really want to also just get to the finish. Get to the finish, points. What do points mean, Jake? Points mean prizes.
And with points meaning prizes, you've got to score as many as you can. And Cal Young understands this, so too does Frietscher, McCollum and Mickey Friesen in their battle for 9th. And again, Cal Young taking an incredibly shallow line going through Quebec. And in front of them, McCollum now looks like he's very likely to chuck one up the inside of Mickey Friesen here. But Friesen just a lot better through 4, is going to be able to hold his ground, and the big wide lines having to be taken. It's so deceptive, that Moss corner, because you're uphill into the first part of it, and then you realise, oh, it's double apex, and you drop back down the other side.
And you've got to keep the speed on through the first part. I'd almost attribute it to similar to like the oak tree in terms of that respect, but also can you see the speed differences here? Gonop Friescher's got a little bit less wing because he really caught up to the back of McCullum there. McCullum not getting the best of runs because he was sliding a little bit through Moss, and that just held him up a little bit. He can't catch up to Mickey Friesen. He'll catch up through this first part, and that just says to me, got a bit more wing than the others as Valenteus continues to go faster. And another wobble there. Yeah, he's definitely on a bit more wing, because if you had no wing there, well, you wouldn't be surviving right now.
Well, you can weeble, you can wobble, but will you all fall down? Not yet, says Alex McCollum at this moment. He's just trying to hold himself steady. And speaking of steady, Mike Rasmus has lost out a handful of places, trying to get one back now on Jason Clapper, and he's done that all on his own off the back of Seamus Power, driving it off the road at Clayton's corner, turn 2.
We'll see it on the top of it, and that is it. We've got another driver off as well. Josh Brady's tried to take too much speed into the corner. It's actually not too much speed. Because of that hill, you kind of want to make sure you're on that curbing, onto the curbing to go side by side, to go into the line, to not get washed out there. McCollum battling now with Frietscher, and he's having to go defensive because he just doesn't have that top speed at the moment. He would have loved to if he saw Josh Brain going around as well, but Brain right behind him, not having to worry too much. Cal's got roped into this now. But if Frietscher can't get past McCollum, where's Cal going to go? No point trying to battle Frietscher right now. because they're just quick enough on the straight to really work up to McCullum.
And this is where you start understanding, as you're a driver moving up through the order, anyone who's got that much experience like Journo Freacher, you want to get a handle on. And that is a slide from Journo Freacher. So Cal Young gets to move the long way around, looks to push for the inside, but doesn't quite get the lane sorted. And that's tough to deal with. And Cal Young ultimately has to settle for second best. But Journo Freacher, he has lost a step. I don't think that's a statement that's wrong, as Marco Nurmela now chucks it down the inside of James Barry here, going for third. Oh, there goes Nurmela, bang into the wall. Forget my point, Nurmela's out.
Yeah, Nurmela's out. I wonder if he just turned, I think he turned in too much there. At some point, you've got to give some room there to Barry. And I think he just turned in too much there and probably didn't realize where James Barry was. And that's a big-time mistake from Nurmela. I wonder how much damage is on Barry's car. He looks like he's going to get away with it. That's a bit fortunate for him. But that's going to open it up now for Ross Banfield to try and prey on this. His teammate as well, Dennis, is right behind. I don't think he's going to be there as well. But this has opened it up now for the final spot on the podium.
Right, let's take a look, and we'll take it on board here with James Barry, who runs himself through he's on the curb the entire time. Where's he supposed to go, Craig?
The little non-existent part of the track, because there's nowhere for him to go. He's gone as far as he can, and I know that Nurmela is trying to just pinch him a little bit there, try and force a move, and he had a real good move there, but yeah, he just knew he had to turn it in early, and he turned in too much there, and that's a small mistake there from Nurmela, and a big mistake when it comes to where he wants to go on this race. As you were saying, Gernot, he has lost a little bit of his pace. He's still pretty fast, though.
He is pretty fast, but he's not lightning fast. He's not all-conquering for season after season fast that he used to be. But he is still battling out there. He's now in 10th place, and at the moment, I think he's looking to try and see what he can do. He was up at one stage, Craig, as a 9,000 iRacing driver, back in the era where 9,000 put you top 25 in the world. And ultimately nowadays, he sits down there with about 6.5 and again runs wide, and this time off the circuit. He catches the same bump as Turnerton, keeps it with control, mark of a champion, and ultimately loses one place to Cal Young.
And that's just a small lapse in concentration there. That's unfortunate for him there. You talk about 9K, that would have been the best. Back when I started in iRacing, 10K was just one driver. Now 10K is almost like the end of Dragon Ball Z with everyone being Super Saiyan. Everyone's got it at the top, so you're not going to see too many of those. Jason Clapper would love to get as many overtakes as Super Saiyans, because he's going to make this number 11 as he goes bonjour to Remy Villeneuve. And Villeneuve's just going to have to accept that Jason gets the run to the S's.
It's a good move. Here comes Rasmus, though. Dives down the inside, and it's going to be a twofer with that move. Remy Villeneuve was pretty much seen with an unsighted attack. That was a lovely pass by Mike Rasmus to go through. And Craig, 10,000 10 years ago is this generation's 13,000.
Oh, wow, yeah. We haven't even had 12,000. Let's get to 12,000 first of all. Valenteus, remember, now he was a 9K driver.
So we have had 13. Aaron Vasquez.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was going to say, Valenteus has been 9K on road. And slowly he's been working himself on open wheel. He's better, his higher I rating now on open wheel than it is to sports car. Remember, he only does into vintage. When it comes to vintage racing, he does into vintage, the Lotus 49s, and now the Lotus 79s. And, well, he's going to on track now to win the Lotus 79 championship, knock on wood, if he does not crash. He's still going to want the victory against Jack David Spickett. Who can stop him now, Jake? We've talked about this. The only man that's been able to stop Valenteus is Zach Leon Hardy, Jack David Spickett, and Audrius Valenteus.
I turn around, I look at him, right? He has got now all of the Thanos Infinity Stones.
I have to look. I don't think there has been a single driver who had... Now, someone's going to correct me. Michael the Turk will probably correct me. There is not a single driver that has won all 4 championships, because we talk about IMSA Vintage with 2 championships. No one's done all 4, and Valenteus is about to do it. In fact, until Valenteus at the start of the season, no drivers led all 3 series especially that's just a single category in Intervintage, but no one's led all three. He got the Triple Crown week 1, Jake, and he was leading the championships in all 3 of them.
He was, and I think that pretty much tells you all you need to know, that he's out there, he's leading every championship right now, and he proves that he can multitask better than anyone can because of his innate level of skill that's out there. Ross Banfield then sat on the back of James Barry here and looking for that 3rd place with the Super Mario helmet on. James Barry is looking to try and push with everything that he's got, and let's just get the gaming references continuing on. James Barry's Discord profile, Little Big Planet.
Oh, why not get a Little Big Planet helmet as well? That would be fantastic for him, but you could be saying that he's trying to move at the fast at the speed of light here right now, but not going to be able to get that out there, as Banfield's going to be looking to see if he can probably get a power up to get down at this straight, but there's no DRS, there's no battery, and here's Valenteus, and, well, we've been alerted to it, Jake. He's on course to win all 3 championships this season. He's on course, or battling, to get his 4th Triple Crown. I mean, again, we talk about it. We talk about hyperbolas. We talk about the word alien. There is nobody better, and a mistake from Jack. This is going to be the run.
On the outside, turn 1, he's going to have to be brave here. He's going to try and cut this one back up and under. He's not going to get it there, but Valenteus gets the consolation prize, a fastest lap of the race, which means only a handful of bonus points in his back pocket. Now moving across the Quebec corner, turn 3. This is putting JDS under pressure at this point, and Aldrius knows, well, you're under pressure, you're going to try and get through and gain these places and positions and try and win this race, but I know I've got to make one pass, so let me just try and talk up the pressure here again and again and say, well, how much of it can you take?
Well, I thought I saw a little bit of a slide there through for JDS. Moss, he does indeed. He runs up for Valenteus. He'll have to go around the outside of 8 to the inside of 9. And I don't know if Jack can be able to fight this. They'll go side by side, but there's too much of a little bit of an overlap, not a lap overlap there. Aldrius Valenteus takes the lead for the first time this race. He's 12 laps away from being unprecedented once again. All he's got to do is finish, and that championship is his.
So he knows that he could wrap this up beautifully right now with the position he sits in, but down the hill through Clayton's corner, I don't think Jack David Spickett is giving up with 11 laps to go here. I think he very much sets himself into position and says, look, I'm going to try and hold on the best I can. Great line out of Quebec then for Aldrius, who pulls the gap out to 0.4 of a second, dropping down the hill and back up then into Moss as he tries to get as much drive as possible. Look how close JDS gets in through the corner, looking to just scare to the back of the gearbox on as well for 3rd position for James Barry and Ross Banfield. So everywhere you look, there's a battle going on up top.
Now, I was looking because Valenteus slid through the first part of Moss, and Jack tried to carry as much speed as he could, slid through the second part of Moss. So all the time he could have gained there, could not get it. We've also got battles, again, these drivers still having their go. Jason Clapper, Seamus Powell, Mike Rasmus in the picture. Just as you come around the corner, there on the final corner, Ross Banfield still trying to get past James Barry, but the gap's not as close as what we're seeing at the front of this field. Again, with 10 to go, I can't see them hitting the back markers. The back markers are 18 seconds up the road. It would be a very late move if they have to go through back markers. Shouldn't be needing it. And this battle as well. Cal Young still trying to find a way through Alex McCullum. Mickey Friesen got past, but Cal couldn't get past. That's unfortunate.
Well, McCollum here with the number 20 as his number, which would indicate he's somewhere around the 3,500 iRating mark, is holding Cal Young with the number 4 car number on his plate, which indicates he's got about 6,200 iRating out there. So if you want to talk difference makers in terms of this race, this is what you call the great Goliath battle out there, because the 4 and 20s are going out there and battling, and one of them is going to be winner chicken dinner, and I say it's chicken pie.
No, I'll take a chicken roll from a very nice pastry shop on the high street, but Cal Young will probably have to try to just run the outside.
Oh, bye-bye!
Massive bump there! I've never seen that bump hit before.
Alex McCollum out in dramatic circumstance going into turn 8. He was so low in on the inside. And as he set himself up, oh my goodness me, he knew that that was a major, major hit. And that pretty much sets his day on song. Straight down to the bottom, catches the curb, and that's why it's bumped up. He has absolutely ragged onto the curb, and two wheels go departing in a multitude of different directions.
I've never seen a car hit the bump like that before at that corner. I know we don't have the 3D curve, but they're still raised up a little bit there, like the old school on iRacing, but I've never seen anything like that before. Absolute carnage, and it was just exploded into millions of pieces once he went by. That allows him to make some moves. Mike Rasmus means he gets some moves, gets a position as he's trying to find another position. Could the number 12 finish in 12th, or he has to get past the number 11th, who's in 12th right now in Seamus Power?
Yeah, and Seamus -1 for the day, your biggest mover, no shock. Jason Clapper's through both of them, plus 13 now as they sit with 8 laps to go. So Rasmus remains close, remains steadfast, but can he find the way past Seamus Power, who, as we know, runs a tiny bit hot and cold, but when Seamus is on, my goodness, is he on as a driver.
Now, I always think to myself, this is the track that he likes, but I think if I went to interview him right now, he says he doesn't like this track. I'm not entirely sure. I might be wrong there, but this is the track that I think suits him. Just those medium and high-speed corners really just work to his advantage out there, as Rasmus just needs to find the way. But again, I say that, too much of a mistake, and yeah, Power going wide there just meant that Rasmus had to slow down more, and he just lost the rear there. And while that's happened, losing a couple positions. Jake, do you hear an elastic band snapping? I think I hear it at the front of the field.
Yeah, it's 1 second, and Aldris Valenteus now has given Jack David Spickett something to think of, but it's Ross Banfield who is desperately trying to find his way up to the podium here, and James Barry, I think, is the one who turns around, looks behind, and realises, I am going to have to still be flawless out there towards the end of this race, because one small sniff around here and you're pounced on right now. It's very much a case of, can you do what you need to? He's getting absolutely no help from Dennis Kiriakopoulos, who's back 2.5 seconds and maybe looking more at Kartik Pai. But Ross Banfield right now is just saying, look, I want it, now let me have it.
Hats off to Kiriakopoulos, though, because he's come into this, I think, because of his teammate Barry saying, come on, let's give this a go. And James has taken to this like a duck to water. And I just think Dennis is going to be there soon. If these guys can really start to work on this car next season, they could be dangerous if they do a full season. I think you've got to be worried about them because they have been able to run so well here. Their pedigree on other forms on the sim has really just helped them around here. The Radicals, wow. I mean, you wouldn't say that's the car that you would use to try and learn how to drive this car. They say use the Formula Fords to get an idea of how to take this car around. But that skill in the Radicals has really helped those two drivers. And Banfield, well, he's in a little bit of trouble, and he's not the meat in the middle, but he'd like to be the head honcho in this pack.
Right, let me put Radical Racing in with the same boat as Skip Barber Racing, right? I think if you come from either of those two series, you will have an amazing racing brain on iRacing because of the amount of mental gymnastics you have to do to try and win a race.
They're slipstream cars. Both of them are slipstream cars. You don't get as much of the slipstream on these cars, but you still get that power to go through on a straight. And we've seen it with Road America. We've seen it with Road Atlanta. We're seeing it here with the moves here around at Mosport. I'd almost also throw VIR there as well with the long straight. The same thing with the Skippies and the Radicals. They are the cars that you were always told when you started on iRacing, because back in my day, Jake, and back in your day, you didn't have this wide variety of cars. It's the Skippies. Go into the Skippies, you learn how to do open wheelers. Go into the Radicals, you get an idea of how to do a prototype or a downforce car. And I'm with you there. Those are the cars that you want to learn. If you can pick up those, you know how to race. And Barry is doing it.
Josh Brain, Moss corner, overcooks it in, has to trundle along slowly, and Mike Rasmus gets another one back. So a tale of the stories of Mike Rasmus and Josh Brain here are the iRating and safety rating are going to be taking a hit out of today, but both of them just basically saying, no, after you, I insist, go have my place.
No, I think Rasmus is fine. He's A3. Josh will be hit by A4. Remember, not many corners here, but they're doing 32 laps. That's a lot of corners. We could go into that whole math about safety rating. We're not here for safety rating. We're here for racing. So I wonder if we're going to be seeing...
I'm just here for the safety rating.
Yeah, you're here for the safety rating, Jake, because Josh Brain, he heard that and he just slid around. So I think you've just, you've done that. You've been that person in the lobby that's just made someone get a little bit triggered hearing someone go, I'm just here for safety rating.
Well, unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles there for Josh Brain. Tough race at the office for him, and he knows it. But Aldris Valentarius here, I think he has hit his prime out there as a sim racer, and I turn around and say, what can you do to... Oh, Mickey! Turn one, straight around.
Mickey, not so fine today, just having a mistake through turn one. Very hard to really make a mistake at turn one because you're having to just over push it, and that's a lot of damage. That's a side pod probably gone. That's definitely a wing gone. He's going to be carrying a lot of damage there. He's not going to have the downforce he wants, and he's a wounded animal right now. Is that Nissan ZX GTP Lotus 49?
Well, it's a Lotus 79 out there. If it was a 49, that'd be even more concerning. But it might as well drive like a 49 at this moment as Mike Rasmus gets down the inside and now should have the overspeed here on the exit to say, Mickey, you've not got anything except maybe a lighter car, but it's one that is aerodynamically compromised after the big hit at turn one. So here comes the move, and he can't get the top end speed. Rasmus has to pull back into line, won't be able to get the move here through the right, but then there's the understeer that now kicks itself into play. Rasmus tries to get over to the right of White at turn 10, gets the pass. Josh Brain's turn now, looking to get the run over towards turn number one, gets it as well. And for Mickey, it was just a case of lap ago, caught the curb, and then tried to hold it, and then just couldn't.
That's unfortunate. Here's that replay as well. Yeah, you can take a lot of that inside curve. Also, I think he turned it a bit too late, and because that just washed him out there, run over that curve. He's lucky to keep one part of that wing. There should be no nose there at the moment, and people that still have their nose right now, Ross Banfield, really tightened the screw last time by 2 tenths faster than Barry. He really is getting right to the back there, but the laps are dwindling. It's going to be 2 to go. I don't think he's got the time here. He really needs to start accelerating.
He needs to find a way. He's run out of time now in order to set this up, but he knows he's got to try and attack Clayton Corner. Turn 2 will get a bucket of dirty air, though, to go and work with, and now moves back to the left-hand side. Really looks to try and pin it down to the curb here through Quebec. Get the run off the exit. James Barry uses all of the circuit and then some as he looks to try and run here through turn 4. Covers a slightly defensive line. There's no look over the top of the crest here for Ross Banfield, but he knows here, does Ross, if he wants it, he's going to have to be good, but that's not the greatest run coming out of Moss, and again, this is what James Barry will cover with.
And he's got the good cover, and I think he's just using that ability, using the mechanical grip through Moss Corner to just help him. He'll swing back to the racing line. Ross cannot get a good hairpin, and by the time he just catches up every time to the start of the exit at turn 8, he's nowhere to be found. He needs to find something different here. Dare I say desperation, but a mistake coming out of White. He's going to have to do it all over again. He needs one good Moss Corner to get that podium spot.
And he's got to do it on the final lap of this race. And if he wants it, he's going to have to go and rest it away. James Barry has played this one absolutely perfectly. And Ross here has just been chucking in 2 takes as he goes in towards the right then of Quebec. And I think James Barry here's got more of a gap than he did last lap. And we know that Ross Banfield couldn't get the run. Up over to Moss, and now looking at the final chances to make this move. How's the drive off the exit? It's okay at the moment. They know that there's going to be a chance to go and get this move, but it is going to have to wait on this battle as now Barry tries to shake this one away. But at the front for a 4th Triple Crown, for a driver who has done it all, who has seen it all, as Ross Banfield now looks to go and make that move. Classics Racing completed it, mate. Valentarius gets his crown. It's going to be 2nd now over for Jack David Spickett. And Ross Banfield has stolen it on the outside of turn 9.
stolen it there by just catching James napping at the end. He did all he could to defend there, but nothing else he could do. Last battle on the field, really. What can Mike Rasmus do on Josh Brain? And what can Josh Brain do, on this as well? I don't think he's got it. He can't. This wash is too much there. Mike's going to have to look for a send at the final corner. But the wash, he understeered out of the hairpin. Brain gets that overtake early on. A wiggle for Rasmus. 13th for Brain. Rasmus will have to be content with 14th.
And you look at the final drivers crossing the line here. Barry West, there Ben Summers, Hans Sommer, and Aldrius immediately throwing doughies down here in Mosport, because he knows that as he looks across here, the hills of Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada, he's going to weep here, Craig, for there are no more classic worlds left to conquer.
Well, the only other thing he needs to do right now is, as we always joke about, maybe go for the perfect Triple Crown and win a GTP race while winning everything else. But I think he may need to go to some other historic races, Jake. And, well, we're at that age now. There are some other historic series out there. I don't think you'd be looking for them, though.
Well, at what point do you label a car historic is the next port of call that sets itself into play. But I would argue here, Aldrius Valenterius is absolutely untouchable. His first title in the Lotus 79s. He wins today by 2.9 over Jack David Spickett to secure his fourth iRacing Triple Crown. He then sits with Ross Banfield and James Barry third and fourth, as Dennis Kiriakopoulos will finish off in fifth, ahead of a quiet Kartik Pai and M. Moreira 6th and 7th. Cal Young ends up in 8th ahead of Journo Frietscher, as your top 10 is rounded out by Jason Clapper.
We'll get down to the rest of the field. Seamus Power started 11th, will finish 11th. Rini Villeneuve just get past for Josh Brain at the end there, who gets past Mike Rasmus in 13th and 14th respectively. Mickey Friesen limps home with a broken car in 15th, and Jean-Francois Boscas, very quiet 16th. Martin Reisman will be in 17th. Barry West goes up 2 to 18th, and Ben Summers 19th. Hans Sommer did recover to 20th after that start there, but then the next drivers, Alex McCullum 21st, 22nd for Marco Nurmela, 23rd for Luke Turnison, 24th for Zach Leon Hardy. I will just say quickly for the F2s, I've had a quick look, Jake. That's going to be interesting when we come to next week, because Josh Cordell beat Diego Mistretta. He did not have a good day in the office.
So Diego will understand that he has dropped points out there in his F2 championship and will need a lot of help to go and get that done. Let's get a chance to talk, though, to your podium sitter, Ross Banfield, who ends up in third place today. Ross, well, first and foremost here today, what a great battle you had to put on there with James Barry. It didn't look the easiest in the world to go and make and measure it, but by the time you got to that final corners and you got the run, you just picked it up, right place, right time, and said, right, yoink, that's mine.
Oh yeah, the dirty air here is kind of insane. I think his set was a little more trimmed out, and I couldn't seem to get a good run onto that back straight. And then finally, at the last lap, I was able to hold on to him just enough to get that draft to get to the inside. But yeah, it was a pretty hard fought battle. I was trying to figure out the dirty air there. It was it was like you'd experiment, make a mistake, lose a 10th, and then you have to kind of claw it back. So there's just a lot of mental games going on there.
Looking at your season here, Ross, your points look very consistent. You're constantly in the 90 to 105 point bracket as you have gone about this right now. And so as far as your point scoring, you've had a very, very consistent season. But does a victory like that start to put it into perspective that you can start tipping it over the edge?
Yeah, I'm not as happy as I would be with this season. I feel like I've been kind of missing the mark with the set the last couple of races. It's kind of put me more in like the top 5. I definitely have it in me. I feel like I can get more podiums and possibly a win or two here and there, but definitely need to kind of just figure out the car. Seems like the meta's changed a little bit with the setup building.
Right, let's talk, though, next time out. Silverstone is going to be the next circuit. It plays absolutely different here to Mosport. So how do you think that's going to factor in the way that you prepare for next week?
I like higher downforce tracks, so it should be a lot of fun. I also just enjoy driving that track, so hopefully I'll be pretty strong. We'll see come race day, though. A lot of people tend to hide their sets until the last second, so you don't really know until Q.
So, with that in mind, we'll wish you the best of luck then for 7 days' time. Ross Banfield coming across with a podium finish out there. Craig King has wandered down the paddock. He's found everyone's favourite, Barry West.
Yeah, it is everyone's favourite. It is Barry. Everyone loves seeing you. We love with the racing, and it looked a very fun day out there today. I know we always talk about it might be at the back, but it looked like you were having a blast out there with Ben and Martin and Jean-Francois Bosquius.
Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, it was a pity about the beginning, really, because I lost so many places. I think with that incident, I had to stop, and then that put Martin all over the back of me. But yeah, I enjoyed that. That was good. I mean, Martin was very patient and understanding with me, and yeah, it was a good race. And then Ben caught somebody, and I don't know where the pace went at the end, but yeah. So yeah, it was a good finish, I suppose. At least I've missed Mr. Summers. That's the main thing.
Yeah, you got to beat Mr. Summers. I know you're still in that little F2 championship as well. It's looking very spicy at the top in that F2 championship. I know you don't really care about that, but the bragging rights over Ben always as well. I want to talk setup, because when you look at the front, everyone's we got to get like the millimeter off the wing. Is it just drive to be comfortable with the back? Are you just not caring about trimming the car out? Are you just looking forward to just get that car to the line?
Well, I tried Andy's sets this week, and I must admit, I thought the race set was good. So I just took the fuel out, and that's what I qualified with. But when I actually just put fuel into in the qualifying set, in the race set, yeah. And I don't know if the qualifying set was any quicker. I just found I had trouble keeping it on the track. So I just used the race set, and I think I did a 057, the fastest lap, which I couldn't, replicate today. But yeah, that would have put me right out there. But yeah, it's a pity, really. Started with a start 20th and finished 18th. So yeah, can't grumble at that, I don't suppose. But pity to lose that place to Martin and Jean-Francois. But yeah, it's one of those things. But it's a good race.
It's a good race, and we head to Silverstone next week. Officially, the rain forecast is rain unlikely. For my history, that says there's a chance we might have a wet track, but no rain.
Yeah.
Forget about the weather. Your thoughts on Silverstone?
Oh, I love Silverstone. Nobody seems to like it, but it produces excellent racing. It's not very good for sort of hot lapping, but when it comes to racing, it's really interesting. I think I've good races there, and it's a great track anyway. Yeah,
it's a great track. I was going to say, we do look forward to seeing you as well. I know you're looking forward to that. A lot of drivers looking forward to it. Barry, enjoy the rest of your hot Sunday afternoon. Get that VR headset off. Get in the shower. I feel you need it after one of those. Congratulations, Barry. Hopefully,
Did you see
what
I got?
Week.
Did you see what I got for you? There's my manual.
Oh,
I got my Lotus manual out to try and sort things out.
He's got the manual, he's got the headset, he's got everything, Jake, and more importantly, he's the fan favourite for a reason. Barry West there finishing 18th.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant to see there. And what that will now set is that we got 2 more rounds of this championship to go, and they are going to be for pride and victory and everything else. It is going to be Silverstone in its Grand Prix layout in 7 days, May 31st. If you want to check that out, 4:30 UTC, 5:30 GMT, BST, I should say, and 12:30 Eastern out there before Craig rakes me over the coals that time zones don't change. But as this is going as a part of a Genesis Extreme production, we're now going to be setting ourselves into play with more great racing to come along here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Skip Barbers will be heading over to Lime Rock Park, a combination of Taylor's oldest time. Grand Prix Legends will be back at Mosport, and they will be here in 6 days' time on May 30th. And Critically IMSA Vintage will be heading to the tricky circuit on the Adriatic coast of Misano. And then, of course, we talk about those Grand Prix legends, which will be the classic Lotus Grand Prix out there. I call them legends still, though, over at Silverstone. From the entire team that's got this show over and done to you, from Christian Deploy, Dougie Beard, and Craig King, my name is Jake Sperry. Wowee, what a day's worth of running we have had. And as far as it goes, there are some things that change. There are realities, though, that cannot be dealt with as they set. I look around and I have never seen a driver as dominant as one who can win on any given 49s day, any given vintage day, and any given 79s day. And it is, to some, unfair. To others, he is a God-given talent with what he does. But now he can say with pure certainty, he can win any Classics championship that he sets his mind to, and any field is there and it's going to be his. Classics rating, completed it, mate.
This is iRacing.